Good morning, boys. So, before we get going, I want to make my face a bit bigger for you. All right, great. So, boys, as we begin this term, you've just watched a documentary on a guy trying to create his own country. So, this term, our entire project is just basically going to be a game/simulation where you guys create and run your own country, and where we as teachers try and make things harder for you. Now, boys, what we're going to try and teach you this term is not only the importance of countries and different features that contribute to helping countries grow and develop, but what we want you to also learn is how to look at information, learn from it, read it to understand it, and then actually take that information and apply it, okay? So that might sound a bit confusing, but you'll see today what I mean, okay? All right, but before we get going, what I'm going to need you boys to do is I'm going to need you to focus, okay? Give it your all, not, I don't feel like this. Just pour everything you've got into this and let's see the best you can do, okay? Because if you pour yourself into this, it's going to be a lot more enjoyable. Because what we want to do is almost have your country sort of compete in a competition of who's the best country at the end of the day, okay? And we're going to get there, but to get there, you guys need to engage with this stuff early on. All right, so let's get going. Let me explain what you're going to do today. So you've all got this document, and I recommend you read it, but steps to follow for creating your country's physical features. So today we're creating a physical representation of our country. So first things first, you need to create an outline or a shape of your country. So you're going to get an A4 piece of paper. Here's a piece of paper. You're going to take that and you're going to draw an outline on it. So I'm just squiggling some lines down here out of frame. Okay, there's it. I know someone's written on, but it's fine. So that's what we're talking about. We're just creating kind of like a map on an A4 piece of paper as a rough outline, okay? Now, the biggest you can go is A4. So you can make it any size you want. You can be a small country like Lesotho or a big country like Russia. It's up to you, okay? But before you do that, you should plan where you will border with other countries if you want to. Do you want to be an island nation like Australia or Britain? Or do you want to be connected to another country like South Africa is? Or do you want to be a landlocked country like Swaziland and Lesotho where you don't touch the coasts? To do that, you've got to actually get your friends to border with you. So maybe you can form little continents of friends where you go, all right, guys, we're going to border on this side, and you plan out where you guys are going to border each other. So that's the first thing with your friends. And then the second thing is you need to include if you're going to have any bays. So we have Camps Bay or we have Table Bay. You're also going to need any isthmus or straits that you want to include. That's a funny word to say. And you guys might not know what those are. So what you need to do is you need to click on each one of these documents, open them. Let me have a sip of my coffee while we wait. You need to open them, and what you'll have is bays and gulfs. You'll have a definition of what they are. Then you'll have an article you need to read, and some of them will tell you just read this part of the article or that part. Then you have questions. You don't need to write answers down to these questions, but you should be able to answer them because the teachers are going to come around and go, what's the difference between a bay and a gulf? And you should be able to answer that. Or you need to be able to draw a bay and a gulf, and the teacher might go, can you draw it for me? Okay, so that's the Bay and Gulf. Then we're also going to talk about peninsulas, which are actually quite important. This peninsula is literally from South Africa, so maybe we want to include peninsulas, or maybe we don't. Okay, that's up to you to decide. Then once you've done that, I want you to take a look at the isthmus or straits. And once you know what those things are, you can actually draw a nice outline map of your country. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create 5 photocopies of your map, because what you're going to do with those 5 photocopies is you're going to play around with them, put different landforms on them, make maps out of them. So we're just going to play with them a bit. So once you've got those 5 photocopies, you're then going to start creating a map that tells me, oh, I want mountains over here, I want a watershed here, I want plains, I want hills here, this area must be hilly, this area must be flat, and so on. But before you can put all of that stuff in, you're going to need to read these docs. Just like you did these two, you're going to need to read one on watersheds and then one on plains, okay? And that brings us all the way up to step 3. Then on step 4, you're going to add the name of your country, the names of maybe the bay. You want to name it James Bay or Cochrane Mountains, which I would be quite flattered if you did. But anyway, you name it after whatever you want, your family or things that you think are interesting or the way it looks. It's fully up to you guys, okay? And then once you're done there, We're going to move on to step 5 and 6, but I don't think you're going to get to step 5 and 6 today. So I'm not going to waste time in this video explaining it. You've got enough instructions and they're quite complicated. But before you go, remember what I said. Let's engage with this. Let's give it our all. Let's really read those sources, those articles, those videos I gave you. Let's read them for instructions, read them for understanding. Okay, boys? All right, give it your best. Cheers.